Hi, this is a full compilation of the 7 facts videos I've made. If you've already seen those, then still stick around, because when the screen turns gray, it's me from the future to fix something. Since I've occasionally been wrong, or something's become outdated. I've read literally every comment on both the facts videos and their shorts, but there's still probably stuff I missed because it wasn't commented about. So if there's anything else new, there'll be a pinned comment below. With that, let's get into it.
I've been trying to make a video about My Singing Monsters facts for months, but I just couldn't get the script right. This game's almost 13 years old, and I've been playing it for about that long too, so where would I even find new facts? Other people that I asked were not the biggest help, so if I can't find any more facts, then I guess I'm just gonna have to scrap this video. Maybe I'll go back to the Lanky Box comments. But then I got an idea. Theft. At the bottom of every monster's wiki page is a notes section, and so I thought I could just take the most interesting parts of the notes section and make them a video. The reason I say theft is because PK Beats did this exact same thing with Smash Ultimate, so thanks to him for the idea. I'm not going to separately cover variants for 2 reasons. One is that I'd be here for my entire life, and 2 is that most of the facts of the variants are just, did you know that rare octopus looks like a wizard? So because of that, every single version of a monster is merged into one slot. One more thing before we start. I have a bunch of facts from the original script that aren't about any monster, so I'll include those at the end of this video. If I asked you what Tweedle was based on, you'd probably say one thing and one thing only. A bird. And while that obviously is correct, the fact that it has fingers on its wings means it's partially based on a bat.
I don't know how I missed this, but bat ears too.
It's also been confirmed that Tweedle is the size of a real-world ostrich, meaning that it's somewhere between 5.6 and 9.2 feet tall. But I can go further with this. You see where I'm going with this? You see it? No? How about now? Wubbox being 3 Tweedles tall means it's somewhere between 16.8 feet tall and 27.6 feet tall. In other words, it ranges from being as small as a female giraffe and as tall as a T-Rex. The amount of food it takes to feed a monster multiplies by 1.5 each level. For example, the natural monsters start at 5, then go to 10, then 20, etc. Epic Tweedle does the same, until you get to level 15. The amount of food it's supposed to take is 61,440, but because of a typo, it's 61,140. And since the wrong number keeps getting multiplied, Epic Tweedle is the cheapest monster to feed in the game. It's by 1,200, but oh well. Potbelly's animation on Plant and Cold Island is the exact same. Noggin also does something like this, but since it's the same sound, it makes sense. But Potbelly has different sounds. Speaking of Noggin, it has the exact same mics as Carlong. For some reason. This has to be intentional, right? In My Mammoth, an old spin-off, whenever you made Mammoth dance, this song would play. If it sounds familiar, that's because it was reused for Noggin on Space Island a few years later. Rare Noggin's rock and dice roll costume isn't accurate to real dice. 3 and 4 are supposed to be on opposite sides of each other, yet here they are adjacent. When Epic Monsters were first revealed, they showed Epic Noggin opening its eye. A lot of people, including me, thought this was the Earth Island Colossal opening its eye. But no, it was Epic Noggin. But when the Earth Island Colossal actually did open its eye, guess who was there? When Rare and Epic Toadjammer released on Abode Island, they had broken animations for over a week. The eyes on Green Prismatic Toadjammer are the exact same as the eyes on Psychic Island. I opened Dawn of Fire for the first time in 3 months to get this footage. Mammoth has 3 different designs. It started like this, before becoming this design in 2021. But there's also a 3rd design that's only used in the fan kit and in the loading screen. Despite its elements being air and plant, Dandy is on neither air or plant island. Because Plant and Cold Island were the only islands in the game at launch, Cybop is the only natural double to not be in the game since release. Also, Rare Cybop is nearly identical to this concept for Common Cybop. Both of Quibble's variants have a connection to Dawn of Fire. Rare Quibble has short beaks and a rainbow piano, just like Baby Quibble, or Monsterling Quibble? I'm just calling it Baby Quibble. Meanwhile, Epic Quibble is literally just the red prismatic. It got rid of the spots and turned more pink because of more time in the sun or something. Epic Pango's internal temperature is comparable to Mars or Jupiter. Finding an exact number for this was weirdly hard, but after I tried to figure it out for 30 minutes, the wiki just gave a number, so there you go. Red prismatic shrub and no other color does not blink during its idle animation. When Prismatic Octopus released, they all kept their mouths open during the idle animation. This has been fixed since, however. Fur Corn is Dave Kerr's favorite monster. It's also the first monster ever designed, as well as the first monster to get a rare, tied for the first monster to get an epic, and tied for the first monster to get a prismatic. Rare Flog's horns are just Gajoob's horns, flipped, color changed, and filled in. Rare Drumpler is an homage to Monster Handler Matt's receding hairline. I'm not joking.
It's a topic of great conversation even among the Rare Drumpler, who has a receding hairline that isn't based on any real person, I'm sure. I'll let you know that yes, maybe the Rare Drumpler was a bit of an homage to Monster Handler Matt.
Both of Maw's variants are a Frankenstein of concepts for Common Maw. Reedling's name comes from reed, the little things on woodwind instruments. But Reedling's a flute, which don't have reeds. The 3 variants of Sponge all have a different number of eyes, and if you don't count the alien on Prismatic Sponge, then all 4 of them do. Thumpies almost always copies Mammoth when they're on an island together. This is true on Cold Island, Earth Island, Gold Island, Continent, and Cave Island. The only island where it doesn't happen is Tribal Island. Rare Scups has the exact same stripes on its legs as the common. Oh, don't see it? How about now? I originally thought this was a mistake from when they copied Scups to make the rare, but they're very apparent on its old Yay costume, so I'm not sure why they were kept, especially since they're practically invisible. At the end of the version 2.3 trailer for Dawn of Fire, you can hear Pom Pom doing Kana's track on Party Island. For some reason. Every single prismatic Congo was broken upon release. The red spots on blue would disappear when it was muted. One of purple's stripes would disappear during its playing animation, and both would disappear during its muted animation. Orange only had 1 stripe until it was muted, and it had 0 while playing. Green spots didn't exist at all, and its middle legs would change during its playing animation. Red didn't have a mouth during its idle animation, and both other animations lacked spots. And the most basic of all, yellow lost its spots only during its playing animation. Also, Rare Congo's wings are from this Tweedle concept. The largest gap from being added to Dawn of Fire to getting a prismatic, out of all monsters, was Pummel. Not surprising, who cares about Pummel? It took 2,911 days. Although something actually interesting about this prismatic is that each of them have a level symbol from Thumpies in their mouths. Red is Ethereal, orange is Schmedeegs, yellow is Yababa, green is Ratatouille, blue is Gloraspear, and purple is Glitchoper. Clambles wasn't in the game until 2023. Before then, Playable just didn't play there. Although, interestingly, it was not only on version 1 of the soundtrack, but version 2 as well. Bogar has an open mouth model that's never been used outside of promotional images. Like Dandy Do, T-Rox isn't on Earth, Water, or Cold Island. Before Shellbeat was the Water Island Quad, it was Pong Ping, before it was scrapped and brought back years later. Just like Shellbeat, the Earth Island Quad was Flute Fly, before once again being scrapped and then brought back. Man, they really love doing this. Someday, my glorious king. They also have the same likes, but that makes sense. What was happening with Noggin earlier? Also, Rare Chorister has the most heads in the game, with 10. Rare Rift color scheme uses common Rift color scheme backwards. I don't know how I never noticed this. You probably know that Quibble, Octopus, and Furcorn have critters on them on Sugarbush Island. But Deej also has an appearance change on Sugarbush Island. It loses its snow. And Brad is 6'5". Fine. If Wellbox is 1.5 Emperats tall, then... Wait, only 9.75 feet? That's shorter than a basketball goal. So then, I guess... Which size is more canon? Let me know in the comments below. It also eats 641 pounds of food a day, which is a little more than an African elephant. And finally, Mimic. Its tracks on Fire Oasis are outtakes. I don't buy it. You're telling me that Mimic acting like Spirit's an outtake? And yes, I get track 2. It's just bird noises and... But track 1 is so clearly Spirit. How could it possibly be an outtake? Sorry, that just always confused me. Everyone knows that Mimic was the original recording studio, blah blah blah. But its original bio was legendary. And that's it for the monsters. But remember, there's still some stuff from the original script I'm going to use. The sound of getting rid of an obstacle is the same across all islands, right?
Wrong!
The halfway point of level 100 isn't level 50, or 60, or 70. It's between level 82 and 83. The first magical island to get its rare single was Psychic Island. The first one to get all its rare doubles was Light Island. The first one to get all its rare triples was Bone Island. And the first one to get its rare quad was Psychic Island. Yeah, Fairy Island gets nothing. The monster handlers have said that Jake the Drake beat them to using the name Tinkerer Island.
Tinkerer Island. Great name for an island.
It is. Anyway.
Do I dare say it now? That's such a good name of the island. We were like, dang.
Yeah.
That's a great name for an island.
Yeah.
But out of respect for our handler helper community, you know, we'll think of something.
We'll think of something else. Anyway.
It's theorized that this was an early version of Workshop. There was a My Singing Monsters game made for the now discontinued Microsoft HoloLens. The only other video of it on YouTube is from Bay Yobel saying he still couldn't play it after a year. So from what I can tell, this game's lost media. Out of the 9 seasonal events that were added through Seasonal Shanty, 3 of them already somewhat existed, but Anniversary Month's boring. There was already a St. Patrick's Day sale for Cloverspell, and Sky Painting's Loud and Proud sale already existed 2 years before. This concept art shows that Noggin might have been planned to be the plant single, and Mammoth might have been planned to be the water single. The price for the Optiglobe decoration is the incorrect date format for the release date of Among Us. Man, that's really funny. I wonder who made this decoration.
Come on, man. I need to get to the dollar store so I can get myself another pack of gum.
Rare Kana, unlike the other two, does not emit any smoke out of its head. Also, Epic Kana was first revealed on Phantomonium. Remember Phantomonium? I don't want to either. Epic Wobble leads us into one of my favorite things about this game, bio references. In Epic Wobble's case, its bio references The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. This part of the bio is pretty much just the beginning of the poem, and Give Me More is a reference to Nevermore, the thing that stupid bird keeps saying the entire time.
Nevermore.
But we're not done with this 13-year-old cousin Marier yet, because every single one of Epic Wobble's nicknames are references to him. Up until September 2019, Rare and Epic Monster didn't have their own eggs. They just used the common ones with some extra effects. Yeah, for something that content farms love to milk for some reason, eggs were pretty neglected until then. The reason I'm saying this is because Rare Flower was the first new monster added after the change, meaning it was the first newly added variant to not use its common's egg. There were over 2 years when no rare monsters were added to the game. The one to break this streak? Rare Stog. Yeah, they didn't exactly come out swinging. I don't blame them though. Look how fast they were releasing epics at the same time. They probably didn't have much time for Rare Stog. Fangler is the greatest monster ever created. It's true. I said so. I've been saying this since September 2015? Dawn of Fire is almost 10 years old? Don't like that. But whatever. From one objective fact to another, Fangler was the last double fire elemental to get an epic. And the last one to get a costume. Big Blue Bubble, when I get my hands on— oh wait, Rare Fangler was the only rare monster on Fire Oasis for over 3 months. And the only rare on Psychic Island for 2 months. Fine. All double fire elements need their secondary elements quad on Amber Island. But for some reason, Boskins needs Riff, not Deej. Did they just forget? Flower and Stog came out later, and they got it right. So how did this happen? When Barb first released on the Amber Island, it needed 2 Gobblicores instead of 2 Gobs. When Prismatic Barb first released, orange turned into a creepypasta, and yellow was unobtainable. Most of Epic Flugel's bio is a reference to the Lorax, with this part of the end being a reference to Horton Hears a Who. I'm not sure what this design has to do with Dr. Seuss, but there's no but, that's it. Wallaby and Waddle have been together on every single island that they're on. The beginning of Rare Wallaby's bio is a reference to Baba Black Sheep. Epic Wallaby has Stair Shaper's face, and the Nexus orbs everywhere. The end of its bio also references Magical Nexus, but no one knew what it was when Epic Wallaby released because it was still about a month and a half away. Like Waddle and Wallaby, Repetillo and Tring have never been separate on any of the islands they're on. Ruditude and Bowhead have also never been separate. Can I find something better, please? The Rare is based on a carrot and the Epic's based on a potato? Still scraping the bottom of the barrel. Rare Souza had the shortest wait between its common and its rare, being only 27 days. Usually monsters change between Dawn of Fire and the main game because of the different art styles, but Thrumble just doesn't. There's some small changes in the lighting, but like, look at this. Ziggurat is loosely based on a ziggurat, which are ancient Mesopotamian temples. There's not really much resemblance beyond the name, but that's where the epic comes in. When the obligatory More the Merrier teaser dropped, we were graced with this, everyone just assumed it was Epic Caralong. Also, to no one's surprise, Wink is more detailed in Dawn of Fire than in the main game. Except I lied! The more detailed one's in the main game. Why? Okay, one last thing. The expressions in this Wink concept are really funny to me for some reason, and I don't know why. The crystals on Tring's back light up when it plays. This doesn't happen in Dawn of Fire, except on the Prismatic, where that's its entire gimmick. Bicinera's design was completely changed. It was originally this monster, called Deuce. The monster handlers were so confident that Deuce was going to be added to the game, that it was on the loading screen for Dawn of Fire. On Amber Island, Bicinera's moved its right arm when it says dumb, and moves its left arm when it says diddly.
Dum diddly dum 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 diddly dum 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 diddly dum 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 dum.
Also, while I was getting these facts, I realized how terrible fandom was. Can we please move the wiki? Yelmet is the first 2x2 quad added to either game. Kinda. Flumox was added first, but it's only 2x2 as a baby. Once it's an adult, it's 3x3. Yelmet can't be used to breed Mimic, Gnarls, Tusky, or Candelabra. Flamox's monster portrait actually used its Dawn of Fire design, rather than its main game one. It's very hard to see the difference, but if you look close enough you can tell. Okay, that was where the script left it, but I'm going to help you out a little bit. The biggest difference I was able to see is in the fur on the side of its face. Krillby's back pretty heavily resembles an ocarina, which actually makes a lot of sense, because it does in fact play Recorder. Also, ignoring Kana, Krillby takes the most diamonds to fill on Amber Island, even ahead of Candelabra somehow. When Fire Oasis was first released, Snizer's tail just disappeared during its playing animation. And when I say disappear, I really mean teleport. And no, this isn't because of Kongle. It would teleport to this specific spot on Fire Oasis. Also, getting all these videos made me realize that Fire Oasis is about to turn 6 years old. Ugh. Snizer was also the last monster added to Dawn of Fire that can go to multiple outer islands, which was 8 years ago. This was probably the single most surprising thing to me in the past 2 videos. I had no idea it had been 8 years since something had gone to 2 outer islands. I mean, Gnarls would have been perfect on Party Island, but perhaps some things are best left forgotten for now. Mimi changed its idle animation in March of 2023, making it much more clear that it's not playing. Also, apparently this part of the bio and these things on its head means that rare Mimi is a reference to Wednesday. Although I've never watched it, so take it with a grain of salt. Pongping is the only monster to release in both games on the same day. It also has my favorite troll from the developers ever. The spikes on his head are super similar to the eggs on Brump. Now that doesn't sound too bad, until you remember this loading screen, when people saw this purple thing and rightfully assumed that it was Rare Brump. Finally, after 6 years, rare Wublins are finally coming to the... When Incisaur first released on the Amber Island, its back leg detached from its body. Rare Tiawa was the 100th rare ever released, and the first ever rare release was also pink. Coincidence? Yeah, probably. Epic Tiawa is the only epic that isn't a seasonal that takes over 2 days to breed.
Epic Bicinera's and Epic Candelabra have since come out, making this no longer true. What? Making this no longer true.
Its egg also looks like Lilith. Sorry, had to say it. Candelabra on Party Island used to lose the fire in one of its hands, and then it would just freeze. There was also a glitch where sparkles would come out of its hands instead of fire. This combined with the previous glitch, making Candelabra super broken. Rare Candelabra resembles Rare Kana. Ugh. I avoided saying this last time because it would have only been Mimic. Let's get this over with. Rare Candelabra is Rare Kana. Rare Dromedaries is Rare Noggin. Rare Bowhead's Rare Toejammer. Rare Tusky is Rare Mimic. Rare Gnarls is Rare Potbelly. And Rare Mimic is pushing it. Even though Dromedary lost its spirals when it came to the main game, its egg did not. When Rare Bowhead first released, it was in the breeding structure on Psychic Island, although nothing actually happened when you used it. Prismatic Tusky is very Earth Element themed. Here we go again. Tusky is Earth, Candelabra is Water, Gnarls is Fire, Mimic is Cold, and these two are pushing it.
Yeah, so these things on Bowhead are probably leaves. Oh, I thought they were feathers. And if that's not good enough, yellow, green, and blue all have thorns. So, not really pushing it anymore. Dromedary, though, I still don't see. I guess these could be hydraulic presses, but in all honesty, I think Prismatic Dromedary was made before the Quint patterns were made, and Candelabra just so happens to fit in with the rest of them.
Despite what it might seem, these are not picked randomly. They're the elements that they represent pushed back by 2. And finally, Gnarls. Rare Gnarls was the first new monster to be added to the Mirror Magicals after they were released. It also had the shortest time between being added to Dawn of Fire and getting a Prismatic, being only 70 days. I'm not calling it Gnarls. I want to quickly address something I said in the last video, which was, the first magical island to get its rare single was Psychic Island. The first one to get all its rare doubles was Light Island. The first one to get all its rare triples was Bone Island. And the first one to get its rare quad was Psychic Island. Yeah, Fairy Island gets nothing. Well, 5 days after I make that video, Rare Squats announced to be coming to Fairy Island. Which of course means that Fairy Island is the first island to get all its rare magicals. So congrats Fairy Island, you do get something. Epic Punkleton was first shown in a trailer 2 weeks before it was released. But it didn't have a face though, so our contest was held to predict it. Although none of the winners were even close, so it wasn't really about predicting it. When Epic Yule was first released, it looked like this in the monster book. Epic Smoochel used to play its Air Island track on gold. But like, just the animation, right? They wouldn't bring over the wrong sound. Rare Blabbit's tail is broken in the Book of Monsters, but not in the actual game. Here's a comparison. The part where it connects to the back is broken. Hula's coin production is the exact same as Kongle. Sure, why not? The hula hoop on the rare also clips for 2 frames. Sorry, if I have to see it, then you do too. Gobblegore is indestructible. It survived falls from very high up multiple times, been set ablaze, and survived in space.
Yeah, so I'm an idiot. Surviving in space means nothing.
Now this all raises one question. Who would win? Gobblegore or a Viltrumite? Rare Clavavera is based on this Day of the Dead character, and Epic Clavavera is based on this mural. Vavine on Sugarbush Island was a pretty big surprise to everyone, but there was actually a big hint for it. Anniversary Month 2022 had a sale for all Water, Psychic, and Sugarbush Island monsters. But at the same time as this sale, Blabbit, Bookworm, and Devine were available. Carlong? Oh. Carlong's enhanced breeding time is 20 hours, 22 minutes, and 9 seconds. 2022 is the year it released, and 9 is associated with Chinese dragons. Carlong was also the 9th seasonal monster, and it was released during My Singing Monsters' 9th year. The digits of its normal breeding time also add up to 45, and 4 plus 5 is 9. Epic Jamboree's breeding combo is the first and last Ox seasonal added to the game. It's also the only Epic seasonal whose likes can be bought with coins. Whizbang's default breeding time is the incorrect date format for Pride Day. Its coin production at level 1 is also the year of the first Pride Parade. Epic Whizbang's fireworks are the same colors as Pride flags, although some of the colors are a little off. Take a look for Monculus' Wublin Island statue can be seen in the Summer Song 2022 trailer, almost an entire year before it came to Wublin Island. Epic Monculus also has the longest breeding time in the game, at 2 days, 9 hours, and 31 minutes.
Rare Enchantling has now taken this title, at 2 days, 14 hours, 30 minutes.
Fiddle's enhanced breeding time is the incorrect date format for St. Patrick's Day. Its coin production at level 1 is the same thing, just with an extra 3. When the teaser for Seasonals on Composer released, you can hear Bookworm in the background. Thing is, though, this teaser released before Vivine, Spirit, Monculus, Whizbang, and of course Bookworm. Unless they really wanted to hint at their last monster 5 months early, maybe the sound was meant for a different seasonal, one that was coming sooner. This also explains why Bookworm was on Psychic, instead of any other island. Spirit's breeding time of 20 hours 18 minutes is a reference to 2018, which is when Dr. Warden's Spirit was first mentioned. Its level 1 coin production is also the same thing, just with the numbers rearranged. You can also hear its track on Fire Oasis in the Summer Song 2022 trailer, almost a full year before it came to Fire Oasis. Catalyst is pretty much an exact copy of this concept for Gloptic. It also has the most default names in the game, at 47. Most of these are the names of the monster handler's cats. I think? The wiki says that's most likely where the names came from, but it also points out that monster handler Jen's cat Pickles is not a part of it. So is this just a guess from the wiki? Either way, it's a lot of names. Gajube and G'day like the same decorations, which actually makes perfect sense since they're in the same family. Still don't know what's happening with these two though. The shell that Strombonin plays out of is probably based on the Queen Conch, also known as the or originally referred to as and this is where the Strom part of its name comes from. Yostrich's bio says that it's only on Air Island, which is pretty surprising to me because bios have been updated before. So maybe they're legally not allowed to change it, especially since Yostrich isn't even supposed to be in the game anyway. But on the other hand, why would they be allowed to add it to the game but not change its bio? If you count its release on PS Vita, Yostrich took the longest time to get a rare, at 3,095 days. And if you don't count PS Vita, then I don't care. Mythicals and Dawn of Fire might solely exist because of Anglo's backstory saying it existed in the monster world during the Dawn of Fire. So thank you Anglo for putting my two goats on an island together. Epic Anglo is also the greatest variant ever made. It's probably my favorite monster, but I've been buddies with Anglo for too long to admit it. I usually don't talk about monster names because it's a whole separate wiki page and also someone else is already doing it. But Hehehe has a treasure trove of references I need to go into. Monster PO5 is its internal name. T-Rox is a reference to when T-Rox was released in Dawn of Fire, where the only thing that could be named was T-Rox. Lancer is the Deltarune character, which makes sense since Hehehe has a spade on them. Kleck is an inside joke from the creator, as well as...
Dude, we should spend money on Tunks of Horror.
Iggy is a JoJo reference, which I know nothing about, so here's the explanation. These three are fan-made monsters, also made by Queen Quarantine. And all is Mask is a fan-made monster made by a different person. Exclaim. Its second track on Continent is also the longest in either game, at 38.4 seconds. Like the three Mythicals before it, Bazinga was supposed to be designed by an Ultimate Creator, but the Ultimate Creator just didn't want to do it anymore. Bazinga is also the only monster to get a Rare, Epic, and Baby in the same year. While Souza has the shortest time between Common and Rare, Bazinga has the shortest time between Common and Epic, at 448 days. Trouble's Sound on Fire Oasis is a reference to a fan-made monster. Also, the video announcing that it's in Dawn of Fire says you can get it on Steam. Every Dream Mythical's level 1 coin production is similar to its release date, just with some extra numbers to balance it. While Bleatnik plays 4 times throughout the ending verse, well, it isn't actually the last verse, so I guess it can be called, the peaceful, but never mind. Yostrich also played 4 times, instead of every other time like we have now. This was changed in the update that added the Colossal Conundrum. Crunchy is the only monster on Mythical Island to not play with Catalyst. Although if it used its unused track, it probably would have. Rare Sporos mushrooms are called Kodama mites, which are very similar to Kodama, which are Japanese folklore about tree spirits. I hope I said that right. These two things in Rare Pinghound's bio are a Taylor Swift reference. Here's the explanations because I really don't feel like reading them. While Hehehe has a diamond and spade on it, Weasel has hearts and clubs. The Kanatruna mentioned in the Cave Crystal Teleporter's bio is actually Nerve. One of its default names is Kanatruna, its secret like is the Cave Crystal Teleporter, and its bio even says that it goes by a different name in its home dimension. Schlep is the only monster in the game whose name starts with a lowercase letter. Well, unless you count Izzet on Epic Thumpies. But the monster isn't called Izzet, it's called Epic Thumpies. So, shut up, I win. Now who wants to hear me talk about the poems I made to hint at the classes that were going to be in this video? Yeah, fair enough. Here's the explanations for anyone that's curious. When Gas first released, it was needed for Wubbox on Gold Island, but it was only able to be fed to level 10, so there was a brief period where you couldn't wake up Wubbox on Gold Island. Also, the reason it was added to Composer Island is because it was in the files for that island for years. Grumpire didn't have any eyebrow animations until December 2014, over a full year after it released. Rebro is the only single ethereal that cannot fly or float. Poor guy. Epic Geode is the only epic single ethereal to release during its Natural Island seasonal event. The symbol on Humbug's forehead is actually the number 5 in Monsters, because it's the 5th ethereal ever released. What a birthmark. Rare Wisp is significantly higher up than the common, making it a nightmare for symmetrical decorators. In Doma, it's stated that Nebulob weighs 285 pounds. Epic Nebulob's bio says that's 4,900 times the weight of its common. So if we do the math, Epic Nebulob is 1,396,500 pounds. Yeah, that's about 5 to 7 blue whales. Blue whales. This part of Epic Socks' bio is about those singing monsters, a canceled My Singing Monsters TV show. Judging by this concept art, Rare Socks probably would have been a main character. Later concept art for the show actually looked pretty nice, but I guess if it got canceled, then whatever. I'm just glad it never got turned into anything else. Jail Billy released exactly 10 years before Tater Tot and Ray Smith. What? Those are their names. Oraculele took the longest time to get an epic, at 4,074 days. Epic Voodoo has the exact same breeding time as the common double ethereals, which makes it a giant hassle because if you breed it without knowing, and then you try to breed it again in your other breeding structure, you just wasted an entire day on that attempt. Kazillion is probably based on a Jackson's chameleon. There was nothing for this guy, I'm sorry. Breaking Bad. I did this one last because it's 230 words. I haven't watched Breaking Bad, and all this is coming from the wiki, so I don't know if this is wrong or not. It's coming soon teaser is pretty much just the show's logo. Its elements of crystal mech sound like... Will YouTube like if I say this next part? Ah, right. Crystal meth. Its bio says that it's the one who knocks, a famous line from the show, and all of its default names are misspellings of characters from the show. And now for Rare Bellofish. Yep, there's more. Its default names are misspellings of either the Breaking Bad crew or other important things in the show. Its bio says it does a dance called Bellofishing This Up, a reference to the line Blowfishing This Up, something Jesse Pinkman said in the show. Epic Bellofish just straight up wears a hazmat suit. It's also bald, but I don't know if that counts. Its bio says that its crystal is chemically pure and stable, another line from the show. Monsterling formula and chili powder is what Jesse Pinkman made meth out of, just changed Monsterling to baby. Dragonflies being called a contaminant is a reference to when Walter killed a fly, called it a contaminant. Saul Good Monster is something that Saul Goodman says, just changed monster to man. And its default names are also Breaking Bad characters misspelled, along with some Better Call Saul characters. It also has the longest breeding time of any epic ethereal, but do we really care about that one right now? Remember how Karlong had all those connections to the number 9 because it's a Chinese dragon? Well, Dragong is also based on a Chinese dragon. It was the 9th ethereal ever released, and it takes up 9 tiles. Feng Prey had the longest gap between Rare and Epic, at 3,176 days. How many more variations of this fact are there? There can't be many left, right? Rare Feng Prey was also the first monster to not have its name in its bio. It was the only one until Rare Rorik came around. And now for the first time in the series, we're entering the territory of monsters having no variants, which means there's a lot less to pull from. So if a monster is boring, then it's not my fault.
I'm not covering them here, so this is still kind of true.
Out of all of the Wave 1 Ethereal Workshop monsters, Yurik was the only one to not be teased beforehand. Meebkin's design is different in the Ethereal Workshop trailer, with the green parts being shinier. Also, because of the Apple update revealing Ogler's name early, many thought that Meebkin's name would be Ogler.
So we already have an egg here, and this is for Ogler. Meebkin! It is not named Ogler, okay?
One of Blairett's default names is Ogler backwards, and one of Ogler's names is Blairett backwards. Now, why is this the case? I'll explain during Ogler's part, I need a fact for them. All the workshop monsters that were teased by YouTubers used their original sounds, except for Gadzooks. Not only did it have the whistle that didn't make it in, but it's also track 2, which wasn't even in Workshop at the beginning. Okay, back to Ogler. The designer of Blairit and the designer of Ogler wanted them to be friends. So because of that, they have the name thing, they like each other in game, and they did this. Flask's bio says that's made out of beakers, but these aren't beakers, they're flasks. Who would have guessed? Oh boy, here we go. My favorite thing in the entire game. Nightbear's bio is... You know what, how about I just show you?
Hello? Hello?
Some people say that, but you know, it's just a theory.
The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night. They're left in some kind of free roaming mode at night. Something about their servos locking up if they get turned off for too long.
Always come back.
It also can't be used to synthesize Pentumbra, Vention, or Race. I like the other one better. If you take Piplash's elements and change them into their natural forms, you get Pom Pom. They look pretty similar, so maybe this is intentional. It's not Pomely though. I'm so tired of hearing that random things are Pomely. Okay, that makes up for it. Exert? Yes, Exert. Its bio says an exert, the same way we'd say an hour. Is the only monster to not have a vowel in its name. Because that's kind of not supposed to happen.
Why is a vowel? Why is a vowel? Why is a vowel?
When Bamibeth first released, Tater Tot's idle animation somehow changed to his track 4 animation. Whale was the only monster on Ethereal Workshop to release without all 4 of its likes. That's because one of its likes was Oogity, which didn't release until 7 months later. It's also based on this concept for Enchantling. In the same update that broke Tater Tot, Vention kept playing a little longer than it was supposed to. Although the animation didn't play for it, so you're just gonna have to use your ears.
No. MPG just did this for some reason. I suppose I need a real fact for this guy then, huh? Vention releasing before Pentumbra is so that Vention would actually have the mech element. Although Rebro actually released before Grumpire too, so this is coincidentally a reference.
Pentumbra's default name of this is a reference to this tweet, arguably the funniest thing to come out of the My Singing Monsters community. I mean, it's not exactly a high bar to clear, but I've seen worse. The monster handlers also must have found this funny, because they put it in the background of the Extravaganza 2024 short. Absolute hey, I made that image. Ray Smith is apparently crafty and creeps. Huh. I wonder what that could be a reference to. Oh, I got it. Deltarune. Oogity does not have its puddle in the Book of Monsters, but Meebith is the only normal 4x4 monster in the game. It also takes the most food to feed in the game, at 79,222,476 food. If you make one big salad every 2 days, it'll take 5 months and 10 days to get this monster to level 20. Rare Theramine has the lowest maximum coin production of any rare monster. No idea why. When Bone Island first released, the loading screen somehow got changed to this. Flores's monster portrait is shaded differently than the actual monster. When Magical Nexus first released, Flufly's shadow flipped. Rare Bonkers released the week before the Thumpies remake, which is funny, because Bonkers is the only other monster to come from the Thumpyverse. Gob has a bite force stronger than a Nile crocodile, which itself has a bite about as strong as a pressure washer. No, not that kind of pressure washer, the industrial kind of pressure washer, the ones that cost thousands of dollars. Yeah, Gob can bite stronger than that. While plenty of monsters are both a vocalist and instrumentalist, Pekina's the only one to not do both in one track. Which monster is hippity and which one's hop actually depends on the monster. How does that work? Is it like first come, first serve? When Rare Popette released, it used an old design in the Book of Monsters. The other Densha is not a sibling, it's the other half. Whatever that means. When Phosphor and Phlox first released, Bulbo got its playing and idle animation swapped. Squad occasionally opens its eyes while it's muted, probably to keep an eye on the play feed. Yuggler is based off this concept for... Weedle? I guess? Also, its rare uses the balls from Canon Chaos from Playground, and all of its default names are people who worked on Playground. The cherries on Hollow's head are a reference to Team Cherry, the developers of Hollow Knight. Get it? They've referenced Hollow Knight with Hollow after this, so that's cool. It was a leaf at first, so who knows if any of this was intentional.
Hollow now has a costume literally called Hollow Knight. But other than that costume, these references are all coincidences. Eric the Cleric asked the monster handlers, and if you don't know that name, then you definitely know his monster. So that's a pretty credible source right there.
Pluckbill was originally intended to be a Bone Island monster, and it didn't have a mouth. The cool thing about this, though, is that when they made the rare, they got rid of its mouth. What? This is more surprising, actually. When Whimsy's first released, a lot of people thought they were the colors of the, at the time, 4 Pommely members. This was just a coincidence, but that makes a lot of sense, since these 4 colors are very common together. But we're not done yet, because Rare Whimsy's released, and the colors still matched. Well, Rare Ruba wasn't out yet, and green was left, so Rare Ruba would be green, right? Zeester can be pronounced as Zeester or Zister and still be correct. One of Giger's default names is Kahoot. Rare Deja Jin was supposed to be released on June 4th, 2025, and first available on June 11th, but it was accidentally made available on June 4th for an hour. Does Rorik's skull look familiar? No? How about now? The eyes and nose are nearly identical to Tort. The only real difference is that the head spikes are farther up on Rorik. Now, Celestials can't die, I think. So whose skull is this? Tort's cousin? I don't know, they've never acknowledged it. If you put this sound from Doma into a spectrogram, you can see Rare stacks. Knucklehead was originally going to be a Dawn of Fire monster, called Cube Hands. Rare Knucklehead also has a tiny little speck that has still never been noticed somehow. Try to guess what monster concept Capricorn's based off of. If you guessed Woolabee, you're stupid, it's Globe. During Extravaganza 2025, you were able to get a Rare Spy Trap from the scratch ticket. But, since Rare Spy Trap didn't exist yet, the game would just crash.
This did not crash the game. I had no way to verify any of what I was saying, but a bunch of people told me I was wrong, so, yeah.
You can see Ruba's eyes in the Paranormal trailer. Rare Ruba is also the first and currently only monster to get a costume before it's common. When Tutu first released, it didn't have an idle animation, only its track 3 animation. Wither's instrument is called the Lyrodocus Rex, which I'm probably not saying right. While the Rex comes from T-Rex, it also means king in Latin. And wait, is it called T-Rex because it's like king of the dinosaurs? Oh my god, it is. Screw my Singing Monsters facts, we're learning about everything. As I was saying, Rare Wither's instrument is called the Lyrodocus Regina, which is queen in Latin. Cantarell's Magical Nexus track is the shortest track in the entire game, at only 4 seconds.
Winnie wow, winnie wow wow, winnie whoa no, winnie wow, winnie whoa no.
Yeah, I could have worded this better. Cantarell plays the least out of any monster on Nexus. While the Dipsters do have shorter tracks, they play throughout more of the song.
Rare Uduk was the 18th rare added to Nexus, and since Stair Shaper has a connection to the number 18, that's cool, I guess. I'm sorry, Uduk fans, the wiki gave me scraps. Rare Bridget's bio says that it wants Fairy Island to turn green. This was probably hinting at Cloverspell, since Fiddle came out only 2 months later. I mean, technically the Cloverspell skin was still a year away, but who was like, oh yeah, they're gonna make the St. Patrick's Day skin red. In Mindboggle 2024, Periscope went from this to this. Progress. The long part of both band jobs is called a tendon in their bios. But tendons connect muscles to bones, meaning it's correct on the rare, but not in the common. Fiddlement was the first ever monster to change its shadow. Clavinat and Periscope have the same likes, for some reason. I mean, they're both bugs, I guess? Nah, that's not good enough, you're joining Carlong and Noggin. While a monster's elements usually never make complete sense, because I've tried, it's hard, get that out of here, it's not time yet. G'day is the only monster with the light element to have nothing to do with light. It couldn't have been that hard to just make the eyes light up, right? It's also the only brass monster to not be in Dawn of Fire. Larvalos has the longest fail time of any triple in the game. That's because the magical single with the shortest wait time is Fluoresce, and Larvalos doesn't have light.
Germ has changed this, which I guess means that Larvalos needs a completely new fact, since if I don't give them something, it'll be the only monster with nothing. Larvalos was the first triple to release on Magical Sanctum with 2 combos.
Fronley has a typo in its bio, which means it's automatically the worst monster ever created. The Crescendo Moon trees are actually planted by Mushaboom. The monsters with nothing interesting suck, because some guy's favorite monster is Mushaboom and now their day's ruined. Gloptic can make your brain physically itch, which sounds awful actually. Bloat was super quiet until July 2022. Rare Plicaju's crystals are probably quartz crystals. While Yelmet and/or Flamox were the first 2x2 quads, Platy was the first one added to the main game. The end is in sight! Okay. If you exclude classes like Legendaries that aren't going to get variants, Enchantling is the oldest monster to not have a rare. What do you mean the rare came out while I was making this? Okay, so that was wrong, but now we have the rare. Rare enchantling has passed up Epic Monculus as the monster with the longest breeding time, at 2 days, 14 hours, and 30 minutes. Also, since I've gotten comments about it, breeding time is not incubation time. I know Rare Candelabra takes almost 4 days, but you can't breed it. Also, as a side note, I was completely right about this thing being slime green. Between this, the Psychic Titan Soul, and Adult Galvana being a basketball player, just call me the My Sea Monsters Oracle. That's stupid, don't call me that.
I don't know what this means. Give me a second. Maxie, you do music stuff. What does this mean?
Yeah.
What?
Light Island is the only island where Do does not lead the island scale, which is the B flat major. I don't know what that means because I don't pay attention to Light Island enough.
Oh. Okay then. Yeah?
I figured it out, Leaf.
Okay.
I figured it out, dude. Oh god. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this means. Okay. So I think it means that the scale is B flat major. So like, you know how it's like this is C scale. It's like da 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 da. It's that scale, but it starts at B flat, right? Do doesn't do that, but Do should do it because Do is Do. But it doesn't. But then La does that. La does the what does the B flat sound like? Do do. Wait. Do do. Oh, I don't know what a B flat sounds like right now, but yeah. It doesn't do that. It's supposed to do that because that's the start of the chord, but it doesn't do it.
Thanks. This was supposed to be a funny and lengthy explanation of what it meant, but Maxie just straight up lied to me. Why? I don't know. So here's the real explanation. I still don't know music. Ray has the biggest hole out of all the Dipsters. Me is the only Dipster to not have spots, stripes, or fur. Fa is the only Dipster other than T to have fur. Why did I include these guys? There's a sun on Soul's door because Soul means sun in Latin. That could also be why it's yellow. La is the only monster to play 2 tracks at once, on Ethereal Island. I don't really know what that means, but the wiki said it, so trust the wiki, I guess.
Oh. Well, La's the only Dipster to have an emoji in the official Discord server.
Flower on the Dipster element symbol is T's flower. Okay, finally. Brump's bio used to have a typo, with illicit being illicit, which gives me some hope for Fronley. Zinth is the only monster in the game that had the same animation for all of its tracks. Giger's teaser was posted when it was released, instead of before. Not really a teaser then, is it? Also, its rare needs 7 keys to evolve, despite its price being in the 3 key range. Okay, Geeker's still wrong here, but it's not for the reason I said. It should cost 7 keys to power up, because it has a 7-day time limit. But because of that, its price should be 7,000, not 3,000. Gargo's name comes from escargot. Maybe that's obvious, but I didn't figure it out until 2 years ago, so because of Poke's polarity with Grump, Rare and Epic Poke were the only Rare and Epic Wublin out of the original 5 to release with any kind of polarity. If you exclude the Sugar Fam, since they're confirmed to not be getting variants, Screamy was the oldest monster to not have an Epic. Lipsqueak is the only vocal Wublin not voiced by Dave Kerr. The puzzle to reveal Fleechworm's name had a mistake in it, so the answer could be either Fleechworm or Leechworm. Its rare also coincides with Crescendo Moon, which happened around the time of its release. Now, yeah, I could have said this for almost any other rare Wublin, but this is by far the most obvious of them. Out of all the rare Wublins, Rare Thwack took the longest to get any kind of polarity. When Dermot first released, the entire ending verse of Wublin Island was removed. And it didn't come back until Blipsqueak released 4 months later. If you're confused, like I kinda was at first, this is what it would sound like if this verse was removed today. Rare Dermot was the first rare to release with both of its polarities and both monsters with polarities to it. Since Crepuscule, I don't know. Crepuscule plays throughout all of Wublin Island, so it's impossible to see its idle animation in the actual song. Also, rare Crepuscule is an A-tier monster. This is an objective fact that cannot be argued. Mulch was the only Wublin to release without any kind of teaser. It also has the fewest default names of any monster, at only 5. Rare Mulch broke the pattern of one new rare Wublin a month, with April 2024 not getting a rare Wublin. Its common also broke the Wublin release cycle, since May 2017 also didn't get a Wublin. Although Astropod did this too, with January 2017 also not getting a Wublin. When Epic Zucker first released, it needed 3 keys instead of 10. Also, if you count paranormal forms and epic wallboxes separately, then Epic Zucker was the 500th monster added to the game. And if you don't, it's a tie between Bogle and Rare Squad. Rare Wyja was the first rare Wublin to release with both of its polarities. Wait, didn't I already say that with Dermot? Well, kinda. Rare Wyja was the first rare Wublin to release with both of its polarities, but Rare Dermot was the first monster to release with both of its polarities and the 2 monsters it affected. Concept for Rare Astropod can be seen in this video about developing messaging monsters. Many people thought that this meant it was close, but it was actually 2 months away. In the scrapped Air Island song for Furcorn's Jelly Dreams, which was later added to Coliseum in the jukebox, you can hear this.
Yippity day, yippity-o.
This was supposed to be Rebro. Somehow. But it was reused for Bon Appetit.
Yippity day, yippity-o, yippity-o, yippity-dip-dip.
If you sold the eggs that Wormroll needs instead of zapping them, you would get 3,790,519 coins. The most out of any other Wublin if you did the same thing. It also costs the most diamonds to fill out of any Wublin. Its rare also has a slightly different muted animation than the common. When My Singing Monsters posted facts about Timpa, which is my job by the way, they said that Timpa raises Wallypogs in its free time. And they never elaborated on what a Wallypog is. Epic Timpa is also the first epic Wublin to release with both of its polarities. This part of Pixelottle's bio is a reference to Pong, this part's a reference to Ice Climber, and this part is a reference to Mario. Rare Pixelottle also references Xbox Series X in its bio, so that means there's equal representation for both consoles and MSM. Rejoice. And we're done! That wasn't too bad. Oh, right. You 3. And an active Wubbox with some monsters in occasionally glows. Wubbox also plays a very quiet sound in its idle animation on the natural islands, which technically means it doesn't have an idle animation on the natural islands. Wubbox is 13.1 feet tall. Wait, hang on a second. So that entire part of natural fact, both parts of natural fact were wrong? And it was all for nothing? This game sucks! It also was also planned to have a statue on Wublin Island instead of its normal box form. They put this in a tweet saying, Wubbox on Firehaven was actually composed in 2018, and the monster handlers had to figure out a lore reason to add it. Add it to the Fire Islands, put less monsters in Dawn of Fire, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. In the original soundtrack, Rare Wubbox sounds completely different on Earth Island than how it sounds now. Rare Wubbox was accidentally added to Water Island and Earth Island before it was done, so it just said the common Wubbox sound. Pause, it's unscripted, I just found this. I know that I and the wiki both said that did the common Wubbox stuff, but I just found an old video from MPG saying that it didn't do anything. And I found a video of him powering it up too, and it also just didn't do anything. So I think that's actually what happened, and the wiki was just wrong. It also got its animations changed in June 2023, but I'm not about to play a whole MPG video, so just go watch it yourself. The disc on Rare Wubbox is Skinny Puppy, a Canadian music group. Plant Island Epic Wubbox's animations were broken when it first released, having its track 2 animation play for track 1 at the very end of the song. Plant Island Epic Wubbox's box, as well as Plant Island Epic Wubbox itself, were concepts for common Wubbox. The texture on the mouth of Plant Epic Wubbox is the same on Ethereal. Same thing for Water and Earth having the same mouth as common Wubbox. Firehaven Epic Wubbox had its volume lowered by accident, but it was fixed after MPG made a video about it.
Somehow that ended up in game in another update. That was not supposed to be the case.
The reason that Christian Bush collaborated with Big Blue Bubble to make Sugar Bush was because he became a fan of the game after watching his son play it. Its breeding combination was also put on Christian Bush's website. Baby Lemonizard is the only monster to have its name entirely in lowercase. Sugar Base is the only monster other than Yule to like 2 decorations. Sugatar is the only Suga fan member to start with Suga instead of Suga. Also, it's the only one that's not a cool color. Sugar Joe is the only monster on Sugar Bush Island to share a breeding combination with another monster, that being Vivine. Yeah, I probably should have clarified only common monsters, but oh well. Sugar Rock is the only Sugar fan member other than Sugar Joe to have ears. I'm really trying here, guys. Sugar Buzz and Sugar Bush have the first 7 letters of their name in common, making them the most similar monster names in the game. Sugar Beats is the only Sugar fan member to have green eyes, since all the rest have blue eyes. Sugar Vox is the only Sugar fan member to not be an instrumentalist. That was rough. Talker mentions the first 6 islands added to the game on Plant Island.
They sleep when it gets cold, and the leaves turn. They turn red and they turn gold. They need sunlight and water and earth and the air to keep them alive. That's how plants grow.
Also, its mouth somehow changed to its hand on Earth Island when it first released for a few frames. Talker's Stark Raven costume was changed in the same update that added Mech Islet, which I think makes it the only modern costume to change, but I could be wrong about that. Magpie is the only Wordo to be named after the voice actor's first name instead of their last name. Magpie is also the only new monster to come to the game in 2018. The rest were Epics, Celestials, and Fire monsters. Parl Sona is the only Wordo to not have toes. Stuarb was the first monster to be added to Mirror Air Island after it had already released. Okay, I know I usually go in the shop order for these, but Celestial Island goes in order of how much they used to cost to buy in diamonds, before they got changed to keys. So, the order doesn't even make sense anymore. That's stupid, so I'm just gonna go down the months. Hornicle probably can't feel pain, at least in its head, considering it had a board nailed to its head and just didn't care. As well as the adult having a fish hook through its head. Hey, that's me! There's like 10 people who are gonna get that joke, and those 10 people aren't allowed to explain it, because I think it's funnier to gatekeep. Furnos in the main game was 3x3 when it first released, but it became 2x2 since that's what it is in Dawn of Fire. I was originally confused on how this even happened, but then I remembered Winked Dromedaries, so never mind, this is normal. Adult Furnos is the only monster whose time to fill varies, being either 28 or 29 days on leap years. Although once Elder Furnos releases, this will be shared between them. Oh, who am I kidding? We're never getting the Elders. Glacier's statue form is its playing animation from Dawn of Fire, not its mutant animation that every other Celestial has. When Adult Bassoon first released, it didn't have Danny Doo in its inventory, but next April, when it was available again, it did. Part of Syncopite's name comes from Syncoput, the scientific name for a forehead. And if part of your name comes from your giant 5 head, you need to start wearing a hat. Adult Vamp is the only monster to require a monster from Ethereal Island, being Monculus. Adult Galvana's inventory is way easier than the baby's for some reason. Seriously, why'd they do this? In the Ultimate Mycelium Monsters Guide, rest in peace, Galvana was entirely leaked early. Before Galvana released in Dawn of Fire, its monster book silhouette was Blassoom's egg. Somehow. All 3 Scartars had different eye colors. Okay, I just realized this while editing, and I guess it can count as a fact, so that's more for the video. But, part of Scartar's name comes from Scarab, so it's probably pronounced Scaratar, not Scaratar, like I've been saying since whenever it released, like 2016. So, that's something new for me, I guess. Okay, I recorded that last thing 5 minutes ago, and I went to the official channel to see how they pronounced it, and it's not!
But yes, I've put Scartar up here on the sort of platform.
So, I guess the real fact is, it should be pronounced Scaratar, but it's not. Despite playing piano, Ludwig is tied with Galvana for needing the least quibbles out of any Celestial. When Adult Tort was released, it wasn't available, and the monster handlers were like, oops, we'll fix it on Monday. And then a little later said, oh never mind, we fixed it now. But this quick fix screwed up the flex egg somehow, with the commons being counted for the rares. It's honestly such a shame that people would use this unintentional glitch to do something that wasn't even that hard to do in the first place. It's disgusting how people will do things that developers didn't even want them to do, just to get something a little early. Anyway, Tort's Dawn of Fire has a type— oh, come on! Really dragging down my birth month, huh, Tort? Plixie needs the most eggs out of any Celestial, at 249. When Atmos first released in the Dawn of Fire, its egg followed the water star chart, instead of the air one. Oh, that's it. Huh. I guess it's over. Wait! What about Globe? Oh, I guess that is a monster, huh? The monster handler said it's an honorary monster, so, Globe appears on the most islands out of any monster. It's easier to say the island it's not on, rather than the ones it is. So those are Gold Island, Magical Nexus, Tribal Island, the Coliseum, Plasma Islet, and Mech Islet. Also Shadow Islet, which came out after this video, and the Paranormal Carnivals, which I forgot about. Globes don't bounce when you tap on them, unlike every other monster,